Poe, Lost Literature and Prose. First edition publication. Contains never-before-published literary works. Written by P.M. Cartawick. Narrated by Chris Macdonnell. The Thing. The villagers were heaped around the Thing as disgusting tiny insects that paralyze themselves from gobbling too many wounds. It was almost as if it was their final moments for a feeling of certain revulsion to creep into their short, foul bodies. Even the air they breathed seemed to weigh down the very drunken ground. Then, without delay, a feeling of vertigo captured my soul as I went howling out of the Thing to slip inside a nearby black kitten that had just been birthed. My senses naturally became quickened, but most of all, my hearing. I could hear the knight wrap his wrists around the old town and slowly wear away the villagers. How they mocked me, as they did while I lived amongst them. They talked about how utterly insane I used to be, and laughed about it with no shame, whilst dragging the Thing homeward. It is true I was a nervous kind of fellow, though being nervous, I think, does not clear the way or indeed recognize itself as being insane. If I was to be insane, I couldn't tell you this story with such clarity, appease, and good intent. As a cat I was very fortunate. My master, whom named me Squeak, was a good-natured being in his late 50s, whom took care of all my needs. A pot-bellied skeleton, to whom, upon laughing, would rake up his well-concentrated stomach, as a woman to a much-loved pregnancy. I grew into an extremely large cat, and quite handsome too, I might add. I did, however, sense, from being young, that I may be different from the other felines, because every so often I would have strange wire-bound memories from any one given life. For instance, the form I took on in a previous life was again unexpected, and that of a boy. At the time my family thought that it was not that serious at first, that it was just a common cold. But I suddenly became feverish and was slipping fast. The doctor, whom visited our quarters, knew that I probably wouldn't make it through another night, but he kept my parents hopeful. It was a miraculous recovery, and it wasn't long before the whole town knew about my speedy return. My mother, whom spent all nights by my bedside, noticed an immediate change. My fever had gone almost completely. Nobody noticed the Thing slipping under my bedsheets as I lay motionless. The children were pleased to know that I wasn't ill any more, as my body drifted to fit quite well into their comfortable little world. I remember a spooky old wretch of a woman in our town to whom us children named the Witch. Sometimes I could catch a small glimpse of her as she scraped back her raw, crooked shadow at the curtain to her dwellings. The home itself was keen to seize on intuition alone of all that would move outside its cat-eyed skin. I could almost smell the greed it walked, as if to eat us children smeared upon the light. But the witch was whom frightened me the most. Her eyes came upon mine as a tiger claws through her prey. Her hair, coiled as flames flung to the wind's slobbering breath. Then, being terror-stricken, I would run as hasten as a river to its source, and not stop running till I reached the haven of my quarters, which, incidentally, seemed to take infinite time. I think my heart sometimes must still wander back there, somewhere between Mulberry Hill and the big old barn, because I misplace it whenever I require that memory. Sometimes I catch myself looking
Sample complete. Ready to continue?